Hello and welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you here to talk about operational efficiency in the public sector. As people are joining, let's go ahead and just take the first few minutes to introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you're joining from, and what your role is. All right, I see we've got some folks entering in the chat. We see Dawn with Iconic Reefs, welcome. We see Derek over in Nashville, welcome East Coast. We see Raphael coming in with Alan Hamilton. Someone from Florida, so some East Coasters. Oh, someone from Colorado, welcome, welcome. I'm sure we've got folks from the West Coast as well, and we're really excited to have you here. Oh, Missouri, okay. Missouri, Indiana. Wow, we've got a wide array of folks here. We've got Albany, we've got California, Iowa. Awesome. I'm based in Austin, Texas. Curious if anybody is from Texas today. Awesome, LA. Virginia Tech, Virginia, all right. Another Detroit. Hey, maybe somebody's gonna make friends in this chat, who knows? All right. Well, thank you so much for popping in the chat and sharing a little bit about you and where you're from. We're really excited to have you here today. So thank you first and foremost for the time. Now let's go ahead and start and introduce our speakers here today. My name is Alicia Pajevic, and I'm a product marketer here at Lucid. I focus on the public sector and specifically our FedRAMP product offerings. I started my career in the government, first as a contractor, working with Department of Justice, specifically U.S. Marshals Service, and then I shifted in acquisitions as a civilian with NAVSEA. I'm joined by my teammates Neil and Mark as well from Lucid. I'll hand it off to Neil to go ahead and introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Neil Farrell. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. I saw some Denver love in the chat, so let's go Rocky Mountains. I'm a government account executive here at Lucid, and I manage many of our major federal and system integrator customers. So some friends at some of our customer accounts here that I see in the chat. Exciting to see. My career at Lucid has actually been ongoing for 7 years as of today. So I actually just hit my anniversary. And I've actually focused specifically on our government practice for the past 3 or 4 years. So it's really been a pleasure to see a lot of the challenges that are unique to the public sector and help solve many of these challenges with our products. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Neil. My name is Mark Mumi. I'm a solution engineer here at Lucid. I've been doing that for about 2 years now, and I cover all of our public sector sales and help support our salespeople like Neil, all the way from state and local, all the way up to federal agencies. My role is a product expert. I'll be running demos today, and I also have 8 years experience as a government employee from my time in the U.S. Army National Guard. So I can definitely empathize with the tooling challenges that our government agencies face today.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Neil. And finally, we are so excited to have a guest speaker today with us, Emma Place, who specializes in Agile and is a consultant to one of our public sector customers. Emma, could you please tell us a little bit more about the work that you do?
Hi, everyone. Yes, I am an Agile delivery lead on the ESS tools team, which is an enterprise shared services contract that works with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. So I've been working as a contractor alongside CMS for around 3 years now. So our team manages a variety of collaboration tools, including things like Atlassian, Slack, Udacity, etc. And we recently acquired Lucid Suite as another tool in our toolbox in around April of this year. And we apply it to both our fellow contractors as well as federal employees. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Emma. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. So this webinar is being recorded. You can expect an email with a link to this recording within about a day or two, and it'll be sent to the email you used to register for this webinar. Now, that email will also include some additional resources for you, including a toolkit with templates to get you started using Lucid. And we don't want this webinar, I will say, to just be us talking at you. We really want to hear from you. We love the engagement that we first saw, so please feel free to keep hopping into that chat feature on Zoom and sharing your thoughts as we go through today. And if you have any questions as we're chatting, specifically for our Lucid team, please use the Q&A Zoom feature. This really helps our Lucid team be able to stay on top of questions and answer as many as we can. Finally, live captions are enabled for this webinar, so you can go ahead and turn those on now if you'd like. Perfect. Now that we have those items out of the way, let's go ahead and set the scene for today's discussion. So why are we here talking about operational efficiency anyways? Well, we know that the public sector right now is under a ton of pressure to achieve some major initiatives quickly, doing more with less, and efficiency has become a necessity. So we want to hear from you now. What major initiatives are you prioritizing that require improved efficiency? You can go ahead and put your answers in the chat now. All right, thanks, Angela, for kicking us off. System modernization project. Oh, yeah. All-state MMIS systems from Henry. Workflow digitization. That's a big one. Modernization, pinging again. Automation of processes. Okay, I see implementing a change advocate network, procurement changes as well. Awesome. Ongoing tools development, training and support. Yes, this is great. Employee onboarding and offboarding. Yes, we've seen that as well. We'll give it another minute in case anybody else wants to engage, and then I'll hand it off to Neil to kind of dive into some of these as well. Internal communications. Collaborating, updating processes and procedures. Yes. Thank you guys so much for engaging. I'll hand it off to Neil to go ahead and chat through some of these.
Thanks, Alicia. So government business and technology pros cited several of similar initiatives to what we've seen in the chat in Forrester's 2023 priority survey. According to that survey, 34% of government business and technology pros said that increasing industry cloud adoption would be their most important technology priority in the next 12 months. And 71% said that improving the citizen experience will be a high or critical priority for their organization in the coming year. As we all know, cost reduction and stronger economic growth were also cited as important objectives in the survey. Myself and others, and obviously as people are putting here in the chat, we've heard all of these time and time again from our customers, in addition to accelerating digital transformation, modernizing and consolidating legacy systems, and improving agility and response to emergencies or disasters like COVID-19. But we also know that actually improving efficiency is no easy feat. So another quick question for the group: what's preventing your teams today from working efficiently, and what challenges do you face specifically? I'll call out one as people are typing. Adding efficiency to purely email-based IT management. Obviously, a lot of remote work and hybrid work not going away. Unwillingness to try new tools, hybrid teams, working in silos, need better collaboration. Absolutely. Interdepartmental communication and integration of systems, lack of adoption, data is not centralized or shared. Lots of great things coming in here. Absolutely. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Alicia to talk through some of these specific challenges and where we're helping out.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. And thank you again to everyone who's so engaged in the chat. This really does show that you guys are feeling the burn. And this is just something that we can, kind of have these tips to chat through. So hopefully you all are finding this being useful. Now, a lot of your responses, again, lined up with what we see, the challenges that we're hearing from our customers. Hard to collaborate, especially for hybrid teams. Difficulty to align on decisions with a ton of stakeholders that are involved, especially if your mission has multiple agencies involved at any given time. Information being scattered across tools, I know that you feel that. No easy way to visualize processes or architecture so that teams can quickly spot inefficiencies or vulnerabilities that exist. Documentation being manual and time-consuming to create. Has anyone ever dug through email chains or Slack channels just to find a bit of information that they knew that they thought they had seen before? Now, all of these things can definitely lead to delays and inefficiencies. So what can we do to increase efficiency?
That's a great question, Alicia. And man, a lot of the customers, I'm actually recognizing some names in the chat of people I've talked to. So if you know me, give me a shout out. But everyone I work with is saying all the same things. Hybrid work and disconnected tools make it even harder to stay connected and innovate efficiently. But what it all comes down to is needing a better way to work. And ultimately what that is a modern approach to collaboration. So I want to take a minute and introduce everyone to the Visual Collaboration Suite within Lucid. The Lucid Visual Collaboration platform is addressing all the challenges we're talking about and that are still coming into the chat, and offering a modern approach by enabling teams to communicate and collaborate the way that we all work best, which is visually. We support all public sector teams in ideating, planning, and executing your mission-critical projects in their entirety from end to end. To help here, we offer 3 cloud-based applications in a single platform to power modern collaboration. First is Lucid Spark, which is our virtual whiteboarding application. Second, Lucid Chart, our intelligent diagramming application. And lastly, Lucid Scale, our cloud visualization product. In a few minutes, we'll dive deeper into each of these in demo format and show you how we help teams improve efficiency and innovation. Back to you, Alicia.
Great, thanks, Neil. So Neil has just given us an overview of our products, and I'm really excited to share that these products are all available as part of Lucid's FedRAMP offerings built on AWS GovCloud. That means that public sector teams can truly collaborate with confidence while working from anywhere. Now, U.S. government and defense agencies, as well as contractors, trust Lucid to connect their hybrid teams working with controlled information that requires safeguarding. On that note, since achieving our FedRAMP authorization, we've seen an influx of customers purchasing our FedRAMP offering, Lucid GovSuite, as part of their CMMC, or Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification Readiness approach, which is really exciting and a big milestone for us. Now, public sector teams can use Lucid to collaborate from anywhere. With Lucid, you can visualize and document everything, from brainstorms and decisions to complex projects, processes, and even org charts and architecture diagrams. Now, today we'll walk through just a few ways public sector teams can use Lucid to increase operational efficiency. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Neil to highlight our first use case for today.
Awesome. Thanks, Alicia. So let's dive into the first use case, which is process improvement and documentation. We all know that inefficient processes can drastically slow all of our teams down. I know we've all been there. But how can you identify just where a process is getting bogged down? With Lucid Chart, public sector teams can work together to visualize any kind of process, including how a system works, how data flows, or how tickets are answered. Because Lucid Chart is an intelligent diagramming solution, you can even overlay data or apply conditional formatting to easily identify where problems and inefficiencies are occurring. On top of that, it's really easy to centralize all the documentation in Lucid. And a lot of things we heard in the chat were about silos, not having consistent tooling across the entire flow of work. And so our document discovery, retention, data restoration, and data deletion features provide a central way for admins to manage agency or company-wide documentation. Lucid also helps teams coordinate work and projects and centralize resources with team spaces. Personally, across my federal agency and contractor customers, as well as many of the state and local customers I've worked with in the past, everyone's moving over to Lucid that we're hearing to streamline a lot of this documentation, keep it up to date, and centralize the repositories from legacy tools like Visio or single point solution whiteboarding applications. Now, to show us the magic of how this all works, I'm going to give it over to Mark. Mark, can you show us how the public sector uses Lucid to map processes and manage documentation?
Yeah, for sure. Let me jump in and start showing how this all works. So first off, we're going to start out on our documents page. I just want to highlight some of our document management features that we do have that will help you streamline how documents are shared out and provide a single source of truth. Of course, we have a My Documents section that you can manage and set up with folders, subfolders, etc. for your own personal documents. But sharing has never been easier using some of our smart team folders and team spaces. Team folders give you the ability to designate a group of people that this is going to be shared with. And once you create a new document in any one of these folders or drag and drop anything from My Documents into these folders, it will automatically be shared out with those people at the level that you designate. Kind of working hand in hand is what we call team spaces. Team spaces are a visual team folder. I'm going to hop over to this team space right here, and we can see that, I still can set up folders and subfolders, etc. Kind of have that traditional document organization. But in addition to that, I have this visual space that allows me to organize documentation visually. I like to think of this as kind of that homepage for a team or a project. So if this team space is project focused, we can have a spot, where we have our purpose statements, our who's who, a roster of the team, and what people have what roles. And then we can start to organize documentation visually. So whether that's a section for documents that still need to be reviewed, adding Lucid documents to this space is as easy as choosing them from your recent documents or adding new documents from this left-hand panel. We also can start to organize other information as well, whether that's links out to other tools that you guys use, Smartsheets, SharePoints, etc. You can organize them once again visually here. Even PDFs and images can be stored and organized. Another element that you can add to a team space is a timeline, just to keep everybody aligned on tasks that need to be completed or deadlines that are coming out, maybe when people are out. Once again, this team space gives you a central place not only to manage documentation, but keep teams aligned on a certain goal. And the last thing I want to call out from this documents page is our template library. So you always can start from a blank document, of course, but we have hundreds of templates focused in Lucid Chart and Lucid Spark that give you the ability to have jumping off points or give you inspiration for you to modify and tweak it to your own personal needs. Also, you can always save any document that you build out as a personal template and then share it out with teams or have an admin designate it as a corporate template as well. Okay, let's hop over into Lucid Chart to go through that process documentation use case that Neil was talking about. So Lucid Chart gives you all the tools you need to visually document any technical process or technical topic that you may come across. Just a quick orientation across the top, we have all of our formatting options. Down the left-hand side, we have our shape libraries and other tools and tabs as well. But core to Lucid is the ability to share these documents out quickly and easily. And that's going to come through our sharing menu. Our sharing menu gives you the option to share via email with people or generate shareable links that people can use. I'm just going to refresh. Oh, cool. There it is. So you can share individually with people or generate shareable links to quickly blast out to a large audience. And what's nice as well is you can always manage collaborators after the fact, having, of course, full control over the permissions, whether that's full edit and share type permissions, all the way down to view only type permissions. Okay. In Lucid, I'm just going to let it reload real quick. Diagramming has never been easier with our shape libraries and drag and drop functionality. I'm just going to hop over to a blank page real quick to show that off. Like I said, in this left-hand panel is going to be all of our shape libraries. We also have a lot of standard shape libraries for you to use, ranging in topic from AWS shapes all the way down to floor layouts, etc. You also have the ability to import any Visio shapes that you want into the document and manage your own custom shape libraries as well. Here we can see a quick selection of some of our standard shape libraries. And once again, you always can import Visio stencils or SVGs to make custom shape libraries. To start diagramming, once you've chosen the shape libraries that you want, it's just drag and drop. You can always use kind of our hotkeys to quickly start to build out a process diagram that outlines something that has been a pain point, a procurement process, a data flow that people have always had trouble understanding. You can outline those really quick and easy using our flowchart shapes. You also can start to add different layers, right? So we have a CI/CD process outlined here. And attached to this, we have some data. You can see that we have some symbology going across the top with statuses for each step of this process. Importing data into Lucid Chart, very quick and easy. I can choose to import, a CSV, Google Sheet, Excel file, and then manually attach data to shapes. We also have other options such as ERD imports, automatically generating org charts, and then things like smart containers, just kind of cool and novel ways to interact with data using the Lucid suite. In this example, we have a very simple spreadsheet that is driving the statuses of each step of the process. And once again, it's super simple to attach data just by dragging and dropping a whole row onto a shape or a block of text. That data will then be visible in this right-hand contextual panel for me to see what data is attached. In this example, we have conditional formatting rules running, which are simple if-then statements. If that value is greater than 4, let's have it, with a triangle. So as that data updates, the symbology will update accordingly as well. If I drop this down to a 3, for example, we can see that that status goes back to green. So not only can you create, very, well thought out process diagrams that bring alignment across your teams, but you can integrate data into them as well, either through APIs or some of our integrations, so that you can have basically dashboard-like experiences as you, build out these process diagrams. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'll hand it back over to Alicia to introduce our next use case.
Thanks, Mark. Now I want to shift to talking about agile planning and decision making. Now, there's a lot of different stakeholders that we know need to be involved in and weigh in on decisions during the planning process. But that's not always easy, especially to capture every voice when some people are remote and others are in person. And when decisions are made, it's not always easy to keep everyone aligned throughout a project. A recent Lucid survey revealed that 45% of workers find that not all relevant parties are actually kept in the loop on projects. As you can imagine, this kind of misalignment really impedes progress. With Lucid Spark, Lucid's virtual whiteboard, it's easy to ensure that everyone has a chance to voice their opinion on a shared canvas. Teams can then align on project goals, timelines, and responsibilities from the onset. To give us a little more context, I'd like to invite Emma to share a bit more on how she's used Lucid for PI planning.
Great, thanks, Alicia. I'm excited to walk you through one of my favorite Lucid Spark use cases, which is PI planning. So as many of us probably know, especially those who work in an agile environment, program increment planning or PI planning has been largely moved from in-person to virtual following the COVID-19 pandemic. So when this occurred, we did not have a tool to replicate the real-time visualization of brainstorm sticky notes, dependency mapping, everything that you used to have visually on the walls in those in-person ceremonies. So we were tasked by CMS to consolidate all the different whiteboarding tools that each contracting organization and CMS was using into one enterprise standard for collaboration. So when comparing Lucid against other tools, we selected Lucid because it was very intuitive and easy to use, as you've seen from the demos so far. It supports a huge variety of use cases, from simple icebreakers to brainstorming to retrospectives. I know that's something that I use a lot on my team, to planning and documentation. One feature that was very highly prioritized and heavily emphasized by CMS that they wanted was that Jira integration, which I'll go into a little bit later. And then lastly, just the performance and ability to support large meetings within a single board. So our Agile Center of Excellence has created a PI planning template that we've used throughout the enterprise for all PI activities, and that has been very useful to a variety of different application development organizations. So we start off with brainstorming, then we move on to facilitating ceremonies like retrospectives. I know when I use my Lucid Spark boards for retrospectives, it's really helpful that I can document action items right on that board and then convert them immediately to Jira so that nothing gets lost, which I know is sometimes a major pain point with retrospectives, is keeping track of those action items. And then to reach alignment, we can utilize voting and visual activities within Lucid. So I'll pass it over to Mark now to show these features in action.
So I'm having some problems on my end demoing out this board, so I'm going to have Neil show it for me. So I'll kind of just voice over and he'll go through the actions. We already talked through the sharing options that are available in Lucid Spark, but let's highlight that brainstorming use case that Emma mentioned beforehand. So once everybody's invited onto this board, we can start that brainstorming process. Maybe we start a timer, a quick 2-minute timer, so that everybody is aligned in terms of time. And once Neil starts that, it'll pop up on everybody's screen, and we can start this brainstorming session. Adding sticky notes to the canvas is easy as dragging and dropping from the left-hand bar or double-clicking anywhere to start a new sticky note. And basically, as fast as you can type and hit enter, you can capture ideas on this canvas. As you're going through this, you also can react to other people's ideas with things like emojis. This will show your support or even your non-support for ideas. you also can start to categorize ideas with our organizational tags. These tags are completely customizable, so you can make them fit priority, teams affected, whatever it may be to fit your needs. So let's say this board, this timer is up, and now we want to make some sense of all these ideas. Neil can quickly highlight all the ideas that we want to sort. And once he has them all selected, he can go up to the gather button and he can choose to sort them based on that tag. So if he selects tag right there, we can quickly see everything's been pulled into bins from high priority all the way down to medium priority and low priority, just gaining some quick alignment out of what otherwise would have been just kind of a mess of ideas. Maybe the next step is if you want to pull those high priority ideas over to the next section, Neil, we can start to gain some alignment, right? So starting voting sessions is super simple in Lucid Spark. We can just highlight all the ideas that we want to vote on. And if we go up to the voting tool, there's a lot of options, right? We can title whoever we want. We can have private voting, voting only on current selection, which is what we're doing right now, and then have multiple votes per person. Say we want people to choose top 3 or top 2, whatever it may be. And then when Neil starts that voting session, everybody on the board will be prompted to join. And they can add their votes to the canvas just by hovering over these ideas, adding sticky notes, adding the votes to those sticky notes. And Neil, as the facilitator, can see everybody's progress and choose to end that voting for everybody, and then we can see the results. So we can quickly see, employee evaluations is maybe something that we want to focus on and go forward with. Another quick way that we can get a lot of feedback is through visual activities. And if you want to pan over to the right a little bit, Neil, these visual activities come in several different flavors. We have some templatized ones as well. Over in the left-hand menu, that rocket ship icon. If you open that up, you can see kind of the 4 different flavors activities we have, everything from single access to double access, categorization activities, etc. One of the templates that I dragged out is that impact versus effort, which is what we're seeing kind of in the background here. What's nice about these activities, very customizable. The text, the visuals can be customized. Neil can drag and drop any of these sticky notes into that section so that we can start to interact with them and categorize them. And once that's all done and we save the changes, people can participate in these visual activities in their own space. So I'm going to hit start visual activity as well. Neil's doing it too. You can see we're in our own space. We're avoiding any group bias or leadership bias that may be happening. And then we can each give our responses, where we categorize these activities. And when we're done, we can submit our responses to have those responses categorized. And if, Neil, you want to click view results, that will show, an average response. So we can see overall, the biggest impact is quarterly reports due, lowest is customer feedback. We also can select each individual response, either by hovering over the sticky note or in the left-hand panel, selecting, my name or Neil's name to see, how people responded to the prompt. These are really nice and easy ways to gain feedback from people and kind of spark those discussions that otherwise may be hard to start. Okay, Emma, I'll hand it back over to you to share a bit more about how you're using Lucid.
Great, thank you, Mark and Neil. That was impressive tag teaming. After we've reached alignment, I'm using some of the features that Mark and Neil just demoed. We use Lucid for gathering our plans for the next few months up to a year in roadmaps and timelines. And once that plan is in place, we are able to directly transfer work into Jira. Another aspect that we use alongside the Jira functionality and integration is using the dynamic table to organize and filter the sticky notes that have resorted from our plan and brainstorming, and then converting them directly into Jira. Or we can also organize Jira items that were already created, either in Lucid or in Jira itself that we've imported. We can organize those further using that dynamic table. So Mark, back to you. I believe you have a demo to show this next stage of the process.
Yep, I do, and I am back in control of of my own screen. So I'll share my screen real quick, and we'll run through kind of the next steps, maybe after you gain that alignment, within Lucid Spark. So we've brainstormed a whole bunch of ideas, and we now kind of want to go a step further, right? So some of the kind of low-hanging fruit that we can do is we can take any of these sticky notes, of course, and choose to overlay them onto a PI planning board. That can be either from one of our templates or something that you've customized. And we can start to map out how this project's going to be completed. Choosing which team is going to be affected at what iteration, etc., and start to gain alignment that way. Another way we can do this is choose to quickly convert these over to Lucid cards. These Lucid cards add a little bit more a few more options than just a basic sticky note. We can have descriptions, we can have statuses, point estimates, assignees, etc., and start to once again use those in conjunction with any template or any of those timelines that we looked at earlier. These Lucid cards are really nice because you either can drag and drop them into a timeline, or you can double click anywhere, expand the date out in order to affect the attributes. And we even can have milestones, today markers, and choose how this is organized, whether that's by assignee or status or point estimate. And then as things change, if this issue now is Emily Jensen's initiative, I can just drag and drop that tile up to her name, and it'll reflect that attribute accordingly. So that's all internal to Lucid. Let's say we want to take it once again a step further. We have a lot of great ideas, and we use Jira, and we want to push these ideas to Jira. Our Jira integration allows you to take any sticky note or Lucid card and say, hey, I want to convert that over to Jira issue. Let me just do that one more time. It's going to ask me for the basic fields required for issue creation. And when I hit convert, what it's doing is it's pushing over into my Jira instance at the project at the level I determined, and creating a new issue there to be tracked. These cards are also really nice because we can start to update some of those basic fields directly from Lucid Spark. Whether that's priority, whether that's assignee, I can get the ball rolling with this idea rather than having it, just captured in the basic sense in Jira directly from Lucid. I also always can click on the issue number, and that'll serve as a direct link over into my Jira instance for me to, add more detail or any of those, advanced custom fields that you may have set up directly within Jira. The other half of that integration includes the ability to import Jira issues. So I can import those Jira issues either as loose cards to use in other elements of the board, or I can select a bunch of these and choose to import them into a dynamic table. These dynamic tables are really cool for a lot of reasons. They work, let me Control Z real quick. They work either with Lucid cards, any of our Jira cards, or sticky notes, and allow you to organize information quickly. I either can choose custom rows or columns, right? I define, the category basically, or I can use any of our presets. These are, geared towards Jira. So if I want to see things organized by priority and let's find assignee, I can do that quickly. And if we need to work through or change any of these attributes, it's as simple as dragging and dropping it over to the new section in order, once again, to update those attributes. So these dynamic tables are really nice for not only organizing Jira issues, but also any sticky notes that you may have. They can quickly be thrown into a dynamic table and organized that way as well. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen once again. And Emma, I'll throw it back to you to wrap up this use case.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mark. I know some of our teams have used that dynamic table to kind of set it up as a Kanban board and have it dynamically update. So that's been really cool and a huge time saver. So speaking of that time saving, we have a couple quotes here from some of our champions and frequent users. One noted that the time difference using that Jira integration with Lucid instead of manually creating everything was probably around 95% faster. So that's a huge time savings for a lot of our Scrum Masters, team leads, anyone who's planning out the work for the team. And then we also have a second quote from another user that Lucid is helping the team be able to create Jira tickets, convert them faster, so that people don't need to work in two different tools at the same time. So a huge advantage to consolidation there. And it also allows for easier updates and helps to keep the team on track. So with that, I'll turn it over to Neil. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Emma and Mark. I love PI planning, and it's honestly one of my favorite use cases that we get to work with. So, well, the final use case we're going to discuss today is cloud architecture visualization and design. Lucid Scale, which is our cloud architecture automation product, is a specialized use case targeted at DevOps and cloud architecture teams. With Lucid Scale, teams can automate cloud diagrams from AWS, Azure, and GCP environments. Obviously, automation saves teams significant time on both the creation and maintenance of documentation. Up-to-date documentation makes it easy to validate cloud migrations against plans, understand the current state, reach alignment, and troubleshoot issues more efficiently. I'll hand it back over to Mark to show just how Lucid Scale works.
Hey, Mark, you're on mute.
There we go. Sorry about that. It's like my first day, doing a remote job. I'm just kidding. Let me bring up my screen once again. So let's talk about first how Lucid Scale works. Lucid Scale can plug into AWS, Azure, or GCP, and it allows you to, either through role-based access or running a script, take configuration data from those cloud platforms and use that configuration data to automate the creation of infrastructure diagrams like this. So we're not continuously monitoring your environment. We're not asking for any write permissions or anything like that. The permissions that we ask for are list and describe or read-only type permissions, very surface level things just to get us the configuration data we need. Lucid Scale diagrams follow the same basic structure as the cloud providers. In AWS's case, which I'm showing right now, working out from accounts, regions, VPCs down to subnets. We also can visualize additional layers on top of that if need be. Things like security groups or availability zones are great. And you can really start to customize what you're seeing to fit your exact needs. I can pick and choose the exact resources I want displayed here in this left-hand panel, what lines I want turned on, whether that's like content delivery or networking, serverless lines, and the layout settings as well. So, spacing, of course, all that thing and all that stuff, as well as text fields that you want displayed. So if you want, all your buckets to show their creation date, you can do that very quick and easy just by selecting that from the dropdown. All that customization is saved into the particular view that you're working in. So you can have several different views tailored to different purposes, right? Whether that's a general documentation view, maybe it's a view focused specifically on security and compliance, where instead of VPCs and subnets, we're grouping things by security groups. Or even a view focused on a particular application with a filter running, filtering out everything else that doesn't carry the bare application tag in this example. And that brings up a great point. We have visibility of all that configuration data here in this right-hand panel, as well as tags and other curated data. And we can leverage that data through tools like filtering, which allow you to set up an if-then statement to filter out resources that come back as false. as well as the ability to generate conditional formatting rules. Conditional formatting rules are really cool because they allow you, once again, to set up an if-then statement based on that configuration data. But instead of toggling visibility, it'll highlight potential issues. So in this example, we have a rule running that highlights security groups that are open to the open internet or coming from particular ports. And that's really nice because instead of me having to click on each of these security groups and look at those inbound, outbound rules or that configuration data, I can basically set up a broad rule that will allow me to highlight those groups that have potential issues. Another nice feature about Lucid Scale is the ability to quickly jump back to Lucid Chart. So I can take that application diagram that we were just looking at and choose to push that over into a new Lucid Chart diagram. It's going to be disconnected from the data source. So, as this updates either on a schedule or by my manual pushes, the Lucid Chart diagram won't update, but that's nice because now I can kind of treat this as a sandbox. Say that we're going to be revamping this application to support more demand, new initiatives, etc. I can start to diagram out exactly how the infrastructure is going to change to, once again, support those new initiatives. Whether that's dragging resources out onto the canvas, aligning with team members, once again, through visuals, or even choosing to jump over into Lucid Spark. Using our universal canvas tool. I'm not creating a new document. I'm basically just changing the tools that I have access to. And I can, once again, invite people to gather around this whiteboard and we can redline this document. We can, have discussions about the changes that need to happen, capture those ideas on sticky notes, and even go as far as capturing those actionable ideas in Jira using our Jira integration. So we can really go the full project life cycle, especially with Lucid Scale, visualizing what's currently there, planning out what we want to change in Lucid Chart, and then going through that architecture review in Lucid Spark. So I'll hand this back to Alicia to tie everything back together.
Thanks, Mark. So I hope it's been helpful for everyone to see some tactical examples of how visual collaboration can help public sector organizations work more efficiently today. According to our internal surveys, 88% of our customers say Lucid enables them to be more productive, and 83% say Lucid increases alignment among their hybrid teams. Now, through these increases in efficiency and alignment, we find that Lucid helps public sector teams modernize and consolidate your tech stacks with one secure central place for teams to brainstorm ideas, share feedback, and plan projects, all while working from anywhere. Lucid also helps teams accelerate digital transformation by visualizing systems, processes, and citizen experiences to create a shared understanding and develop new solutions. In addition, Lucid creates a single source of truth. It does this for your entire organization's ideas, plans, and diagrams to help teams align, make decisions, and jump into action faster. Now, before we take some questions, we wanted to share some resources with you in case you'd like to dive in deeper. Now, on the left-hand side, you'll see the public sector's toolkit for effortless documentation. This resource has Lucid templates to kickstart documenting everything from your vision to project plans, org charts, technical systems, and more. And then we also have included the public sector's guide to digital transformation. Here, you can learn how to create clarity, alignment, and adaptability to accelerate digital transformation. And as a reminder, you'll receive a video recording of today's webinar. Once you receive that, please feel free to share with your teammates. Maybe there was a use case that you think would be particularly useful to someone that you work with. Now we'll move into questions. Please use the Zoom chat or the Q&A to ask our speakers more questions on these topics. And thank you again for joining. I'll give a minute just so that we can go ahead and have some questions surfaced in the chat. All right. Thank you, guys. Okay, so I have the first one to kick us off. Regarding Lucid's migration and implementation services, transitioning to a new platform is tricky. Neil, can you please kick us off and tell us how Lucid helps customers onboard and get up to speed quickly if they're already working in a platform like Visio?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm really glad that someone asked that. So one of the best parts about Lucid is we're not just a company that drops a product on you and says, ready, go. While we do have a lot of self-service tools to mass import documents from Visio, from Miro, from Mural, and other tools as well, we have an amazing professional services organization and implementation team that's helped some of the largest public sector organizations and private sector customers we have migrate tens, if not hundreds of thousands of Visio documents and other types of whiteboarding documents as well.
Thanks, Neil. Next up, what if your organization is still using MS Word, Excel, Google Docs, and email as its main collaboration tools?
Is that one for me?
I can handle that one. So we see this a lot, right? Microsoft Suite has been around for a while, and it's just what people are used to. Same with Google Docs, Google Sheets, and the like. What we find is if teams are still using those integrations, those services, our commercial products or our non-FedRAMP product integrates with all of those. It allows you to insert visuals into those places as well to kind of supplement what otherwise might be text or very basic, visual capabilities that you have in those platforms, and it allows you to start to make that transition. We've also seen teams and customers use our team spaces type functionality to link to those places if they're cloud-based or stored in a SharePoint, that sort of thing, to kind of slowly make that shift over to Lucid for document management and knowledge sharing.
Thanks, Mark. And given time, I think we've got enough time for about one or two more. This one just came in. What about an IT use case for workflows based on roles and personas to clearly show how workflow might connect at some points?
Yeah, I'll handle that one as well. So while the example I showed definitely was an IT-based example, I've seen customers from all sorts of different functions basically use Lucid to gain alignment. In terms of roles and personas, we can capture all those in our org charting tool. Also, with our sharing options, you have the ability to share out documents at even like a comment level without requiring a license. And what's nice about that comment functionality is you can right-click on any shape, leave a comment, mention somebody by name. So maybe it's a supervisor who you want to have approve this document. Maybe it's a coworker and you just want to draw attention to an object. You can do that, and we even have document statuses and classifications that allow you to kind of go through the whole, hey, this is a draft, this is in progress, this is approved, and now it's locked, and we're not going to make any more changes to it. So while, like I said, the example I showed may be IT based, Lucid is truly for everybody in terms of being able to work with those different personas and gain feedback on processes and workflows.
Awesome. And we have time just for one more quick question. So we have access to Jamboard, but it seems basic. Can you share more about how Lucid would products offering could be used?
Yeah, I can take that one, Alicia. Yeah, so actually, interestingly enough, Google announced a few months ago that it's actually deprecating Jamboard. And as a result of that, they actually recommend Lucid as one of their partners that they're pushing users to. So Lucid Spark specifically would replace that use case. And our team would love to help you discuss how we can help migrate your use cases over to Lucid as opposed to Jamboard.
Thanks, Neil. And with that, I want to go ahead and wrap up this webinar today. Have so appreciated the time that everyone has given, and we hope that you found it to be useful. Please do look out for an email from us with this webinar recording, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Please contact us if you have additional questions, as we'll go ahead and wrap it up now.